At around 1:30 in the morning, something strange happened in a quiet apartment in Delhi. A man who had spent his entire life studying ghosts suddenly looked terrified for the first time. The room was silent, but he kept staring into the corner as if dozens of eyes were watching him. What he saw that night would change everything, and only a few hours later he would be found dead. Before we begin, if you enjoy real-style paranormal stories like this, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel Dark Whispers, because here we explore the darkest mysteries that most people are afraid to talk about. This story begins with a well-known paranormal investigator named Gaurav. For years he had worked with strange cases, haunted places, and unexplained events. Most people would panic even hearing about such things, but for Gaurav it was just another day of work. He believed that not every spirit was evil, and sometimes helping them was the only way to bring peace to both the living and the dead. His assistant Manya had been working with him for almost 8 years, and during that time she had seen many terrifying things. But even after witnessing shadows move, hearing strange voices, and feeling invisible presences, she had never seen Gaurav afraid. Everything changed the night they tried to save a young girl who seemed to be possessed by multiple spirits. The moment Gaurav entered the room, he realized something was terribly wrong. The air felt heavy, and the temperature suddenly dropped. The girl's body trembled as if dozens of voices were fighting inside her. Gaurav calmly started the ritual to separate the spirits from her body. It was dangerous work, but after hours of effort, he finally managed to free the girl. But when the ritual ended, something unexpected happened. Instead of disappearing completely, the shadows in the room seemed to move toward Gaurav. For a brief moment he felt as if many invisible figures were standing around him. Manya noticed his hand shaking slightly, which was something she had never seen before. A second later the strange presence vanished, but Gaurav's face turned pale. His breathing became heavy, as if something inside him was burning. Manya rushed toward him with concern, asking if he was all right. Mr. Taneja, the girl's father, quickly took out his phone to call a doctor. But before he could dial the number, Gaurav suddenly sat up and raised his hand, stopping him. He spoke in a low voice and said there was no need for a doctor. Whatever was happening was beyond medical science. His eyes looked tired and distant, as if he was listening to something no one else could hear. Gaurav then asked for something unusual. He requested a bowl filled with ice cubes. Confused but worried, Mr. Taneja hurried into the kitchen and returned with a bowl full of ice. The moment Gaurav received it, he began eating the ice quickly. He kept chewing piece after piece as if he had been starving for days. Everyone in the room watched silently, not understanding why he was doing this. The truth was that Gaurav felt an intense burning sensation inside his chest and stomach. It felt like a fire was slowly spreading through his body. The cold ice was the only thing giving him a small sense of relief. After finishing the last cube, he closed his eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. Manya asked if they could leave now. Gaurav looked at her for several seconds. His eyes seemed to be studying her carefully, almost as if he was checking whether something else was standing behind her. Then he slowly nodded and said it was time to go. As they packed their equipment and walked toward the exit, Gaurav kept glancing at the corner of the room. Nothing was visible there, but it was clear that he felt something watching him. They left the apartment that same night. During the drive back to their office, the silence inside the car felt uncomfortable. Finally, Manya gathered the courage to speak. She told Gaurav that she had worked with him for many years, but had never seen him so serious and quiet. She asked him what exactly had happened in that room. For a moment, Gaurav said nothing. Then he looked out the window and whispered something that made Manya's heart stop. He said that whatever was there had followed him. The atmosphere inside the office suddenly felt colder. Manya asked who he was talking about, but Gaurav gestured for her to remain silent. He pointed toward a glass table in front of them and asked her to look carefully at its reflection. Slowly and nervously, Manya lowered her head and looked at the glass surface. Her breath stopped instantly. In the reflection she could clearly see Gaurav's face, but behind him there were many other faces as well. Dozens of pale shapes staring silently from the darkness. Some had hollow black eyes, while others showed strange, twisted smiles. Manya wanted to scream, but fear froze her voice. She quickly stepped back and shut her eyes, hoping the vision would disappear. After a few moments, she managed to calm herself down. With a trembling voice, she asked Gaurav why those spirits were following him. Gaurav sighed deeply before answering. He admitted that during his years of paranormal investigations, he had often allowed certain spirits to stay near him. Some were harmless, some were dangerous, but he believed he could control them. However, a few years earlier, he had encountered something far more powerful than anything he had seen before. It was an entity that wanted to take him away. For a long time he ignored its presence, thinking it would eventually disappear. But recently he started seeing a strange figure again and again, a small shadow that looked like the spirit of a child. In the world of paranormal researchers, this spirit had a name that many investigators feared. It was known as Bachua. According to old stories, Bachua appears only when someone's death is approaching. Years ago, Gaurav had managed to calm that spirit and send it away. But now it had returned, and its appearance meant that something terrible was about to happen. Manya tried to think of a reason why this had started again. After a moment, she remembered something from the past. 5 years earlier, they had conducted an overnight investigation at a famous abandoned fort. That night, Gaurav had publicly announced that the place showed no paranormal activity. Many viewers had watched the live broadcast. Gaurav slowly nodded. He said that was his biggest mistake. Even though the spirits had not shown themselves that night, they had heard his challenge. They had accepted it silently. And now, 5 years later, they had finally found a way to reach him. The possessed girl they had saved earlier might have been just a bridge that allowed those entities to come closer to him. Manya tried to encourage him. She told him they would find a way to fix the problem together. For a brief moment, a faint smile appeared on Gaurav's face. He thanked her and said that he would never give up easily. There was still important work left to do, especially fighting the line between blind superstition and real unexplained mysteries. Soon after that, Manya left for home. As soon as she walked out, the smile disappeared from Gaurav's face. He stood near the window and stared into the darkness outside. For several seconds he remained completely still. Then he quietly left the office and drove back to his house. It was almost 2 in the morning when he finally arrived. The next morning, July 7th, 2016, Gaurav woke up feeling extremely weak. His head felt heavy and his throat was dry. The burning sensation inside his chest had returned. He slowly walked toward the bathroom, holding the wall for support. Just a few minutes later, his family began knocking on the door because he was not responding. Hours later, news channels across India started broadcasting shocking headlines. A famous paranormal investigator had been found dead in his own bathroom. Authorities reported that he had taken his own life, but many people refused to believe it. Those who knew him personally said he was not the type of person who would give up so easily. Some believed stress might have caused it, while others suspected that the mysterious forces he studied for years had finally turned against him. Even today, the real reason behind his death remains unclear. Some say it was simply a tragic coincidence. Others believe the entities he once challenged had finally answered him. Whatever the truth may be, his story still remains one of the most chilling mysteries in the world of paranormal research. And it reminds us that sometimes the things we try to understand might be watching us back from the darkness.